Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven Nguyen. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. Today I want to give an update on my Tesla Model Y. So I've been supercharging my Tesla Model Y for free for the past 6 months because when I bought it back in December of 2023, that was the incentive that I got. I think $2,000 off my Tesla Model Y, which was nice. It qualified for the federal tax credit of $7,500, which was nice. And also on top of that, I got 6 months of free supercharging, which was very nice because I was commuting about 70 miles each way, so 140 miles a day to my W-2 job. So I was a commuter, right? So I was supercharging almost every single day. I would go roughly from 20% up to 85% and charge that every single day. And it took me about 30 minutes. And that's, you see a lot of my videos, I'm recording while I'm charging my Tesla. But now I have a job that's a lot closer, and I only charge once a week. And actually, my supercharging trial just ended, so now I'm charging at home. So I'll do a separate video talking about my experience charging at home. But for now, I looked at my summary, and I charged 3,900 kilowatt hours over the span of 6 months. So I want to calculate that cost and how it compares to when I was paying for gas, right? Because I was filling up my gas tank about twice a week. And keep in mind, I was driving, switching between a 2010 BMW 328i, which doesn't get great mileage. I was getting like maybe 27 to 30 miles per gallon. And I would rotate that with the Camry, which is a 2008 Camry, which was getting maybe 35-ish miles per gallon. And I was always filling up at Costco gas. And Costco gas is on average about 50 cents cheaper per gallon, right? So factor that in. So let's break this down. So I charged 3,900 kilowatt hours over 6 months. So assuming the average cost of a supercharge in California is 35 cents per kilowatt hour, which I think is generous, right? To be honest, because some superchargers, depending which one you go to, could be like 50, 60 cents per kilowatt hour, depending on the time. Some are kind of like flat rate. So I just took the average, and I'd say about 35 cents kilowatt hour is reasonable. If you times that by 3,900, that's roughly $1,400 that I spent over 6 months. So if you divide that per monthly cost, that's about $230 per month, right? On average, I was spending around $600 to $800 per month filling up my gas tank twice a week, right? Because I was basically driving 140 miles a day. So I can probably go about a day, 2.5 days before I filled up a gas tank. And I was buying gas at Costco once again, which is cheaper than going to like Chevron or Shell, right? So if you kind of do the math, roughly I was probably spending around 40% of the cost of electricity to supercharge, right? So it was a huge savings for me, but it was better. It was free, right? It was free for me, but essentially I would have been spending $600 a month on gas. My car payment was around close to $800. So I just thought, okay, I'm paying $200 more and I get free charging, right? And if you look at the cost of the fuel, if I had to pay, it would have been $230 per month. So I would have essentially saved close to $400 a month, and I could use that savings to pay down my car further, right? But I now paid off my Tesla Model Y. I'll do another video talking about that. I paid it off in 6 months, and I just bought 100% financing because I was cash poor 6 months ago. But after I got my tax return, after I got some money from real estate, then I just started paying down my Tesla aggressively because I had a 6.5% interest rate. So it was pretty crazy for those 6 months that all the charging I did was all free. I was milking it, to be honest. Like I was doing road trips up to the Bay Area, from LA to Bay Area, from LA to Vegas, from LA to San Diego. I would drive everywhere, right? I probably put on like 13,000 miles in the span of using 3,900 kilowatt hours, right, over 6 months. So I was driving quite a bit, and just giving a preview, and I'll do a deeper dive on it. But now that my supercharging is over, I moved into a primary residence, and I do have a 30 amperage charger at home, right, which came pre-built with this new build house in Lennar, which is nice, right? So I had to buy an adapter that was 30 amps. I think it was I forget the exact name. I think it's like a 15-30 30 NEMA adapter, which I bought that from Tesla on Amazon for like $60 so that it would fit into I think it was a dryer outlet. So it's 30 amps max. And I plug that in and I can charge my car. And so how it works is it's a 30 amp breaker. And then at most, Tesla will do 80% of that so you don't trip your power circuit, right? So if you have a 30 amperage plug, then at most you'll get is 24, which is 80% of that, right? So you don't trip the circuit. And I'll basically plug it into my Tesla Model Y, and I look at it, and roughly it's charging 16 miles per hour for my Tesla Model Y. That's 2023 model. So if I want to go from like 20% to 80%, for me, I know you're supposed to charge every day, but I get lazy. So for me, I charge about maybe once a week. Or if I drive more on the weekend, I'll charge again. But to go from 20% to 80%, it takes roughly around maybe 6 to 7 hours to get that charge, versus at the supercharger, it takes me like 30 minutes, right? But, I'm just plugged in the garage at night and I charge. So every time I charge my car, it takes about 20 kilowatt hours to fully charge my car from 20 to 80, right? And what I do is I schedule my charge. So I always charge after off-peak hours. So I have SoCal Edison. If you have electric vehicle and solar panels, I have solar panels. Yes, you're something on the time of use plan prime. So basically, if you charge, the peak hours is 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So if you charge outside that window, that 5-hour window, it's only about 25 cents per kilowatt hour, right? But if you charge from 4 to 9 p.m. or use electricity from 4 to 9 p.m., it's double that. It's roughly around like 50 cents per kilowatt hour. So for me, I always try to use all my electricity. I avoid 4 to 9 p.m., right? So if I do the dishwasher, if I do my laundry, I avoid 4 to 9 p.m. If I'm charging my car, I schedule it. So I plug it in and I'll schedule it to start charging after 9 p.m., right? So I'm getting that cheaper rate. And what's really nice is, so it costs me 20 kilowatt hours to charge. I'm at 25 cents per kilowatt hour. So roughly it's about $5, right? But a cherry on top is I'm testing my solar panel system, but they told me that the solar panel should cover about 80% of my electricity usage. If that's the case, then if it costs me $5 to charge my Tesla Model Y after the 8% solar panel, really it's $1 to charge my Tesla Model Y. And it cost me $1 like once a week, right? And I did look at my solar production, and it's halfway through June. And I did already generate about 100 kilowatt hours, daylight savings right now, keep in mind. And I charge my Tesla once a week, which is 20 kilowatts a week, right? So in a month, that's 80 kilowatt hours in a month. And if I keep my current rate, it's roughly around 200 kilowatt hours that my solar panels produce. So, and if that's true, then maybe all my charging might be free, or 80% is reasonable, right? Because we don't really blast the AC and all that stuff. So it's even cheaper now, right? Now that I charge at home, no more free supercharging. I want to avoid the superchargers unless I'm going on road trips, right? In which case, I'm stuck using the supercharger, and I would charge as max as I could. So, hopefully this gave some value as to kind of the cost of charging. Like even when I was using a supercharger, it was still 40% the cost of gas. And keep in mind, I was buying cheaper Costco gas, which is 50 cents per gallon cheaper. And, I will admit my cars weren't as fuel efficient, right? Like compared to newer Toyotas, hybrid Camrys, they can get 50 miles per gallon, right? So I'm comparing it to something that's older. But even now that I'm charging at home and I have solar panels, it's even cheaper, right? Like literally it's like $1 a week. So in a month, I'll spend $5 on charging, right? That's insane. And my outlet, which is nice, like you said, it doesn't charge fast, but hey, I'm not using that car overnight anyways, right? Or if you charge your car every day, like they recommend, you'll always be topped off to like 80-85%, right? Like, so let me know if you have questions. Hopefully you got value. Really interesting doing this Tesla Model Y journey and how much it saved me in terms of money and cost, and not to go to the gas station anymore. So let me know any questions. Please share this video with somebody who can value from it, and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.